Fighting for freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. The Patrick Riggins Show. Call in now at 865-243-8255. That's 243-TALK. And now your host, Patrick Riggins.
Welcome back to the Patrick Riggins Show. Nothing like trying to get that throat cleared before the mic comes on. Yeah. We're getting there. We're getting there. I'm a professional. I will do this show professionally, even if my legs fall off.
The ugly underbelly
of radio.
Live radio.
Yes. When you're downing pills and who knows if you got your brain all the way together.
Hey, NyQuil party at my house after work.
Exactly, yeah. You're thinking, wow, did I just say that? All right. We had the vice presidential debate this last week. Tori, we were talking a little bit above that, and you said you didn't catch that.
I did not catch a minute of it at band practice. So
yeah. I was thinking about Tori at band practice, so that's why I didn't catch it.
That's a good reason to miss it, man.
Yeah. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch any commentary about it, and I really haven't seen any clips from it.
So you're very informed on it.
Exactly. And you know what? From all this, an amazing thing happened. Can you guess what it is, Tori, after all that?
No. What?
Nothing. Nothing happened. I didn't watch the debates, and the next morning, my shower still worked. My oven still heated up. My car still started.
The sky's still there.
The sky's still there. Everything was just as it was the day before. I didn't waste my time listening to Frick and Frack babble on about what their idea of how our country should be. And the next day I was fine. So see, it works. You should try it during the next presidential debate. Don't bother watching. See if when you get up the next day everything is okay. I'm sure it will be, because anything these four guys have to say is not earth-shaking. It doesn't matter what they pontificate about. I don't care, and you shouldn't either. Why? First off, because these people have voting records we can examine. I don't need to listen to what they have to say, whatever lie or cover-up they want to use. None of these people are unknown quantities. Instead of having a debate, how about a few hours of primetime coverage talking about their voting records? You can't lie about them. It is all right there in black and white. What came up? How did you vote? The truth of the matter is, if they did that, no one would vote for either candidate. They would have to include third parties because neither major party candidate would have anyone voting for them. When it comes to what they say, what they do, we never hear about the do part, only the say part. We know exactly how they are going to decide things. It is because they have voting records. Now, if these guys have been in government and we didn't know anything about them, like back in the days before mass communication, you didn't have the internet, you didn't have a 24-hour news cycle, you didn't know anything about these people. That is why I tell you these debates are a waste of time. You might as well watch paint dry, or at least do something more productive than watching two people tell you what they think you want them to hear, or they think you want to hear, or what their constituencies want to hear, or constituents, I guess, what they would like to hear. Getting back to my original thought, it's okay, I remember where I was. You used to not have any information about these people. You needed a debate to hear what each candidate stood for. Now you have all the information you could ever want on somebody. So much so that the news media wastes time reporting on what the pets of these people are doing. Who cares? I don't give a flip about the president's dog or Romney's dog, whatever.
I do.
Apparently Tory does. Is that the point at which we're now at in this country? That this is what's important. Our founders would be laughing, or more than likely crying, at the fact this is considered news. You have the voting records, everything they have ever talked about, just about every speech they have ever made. You have everything right there on the internet. Why even have a debate? They are just going to sit there and tell you what they think you want to hear. When it comes down to brass tacks, we know how you vote. We've got your record. We know how you think. We know what you've done and said. I don't need a debate to see your actions. You can sit here and tell me anything you want to tell me, but that doesn't mean it is what you're going to do, because it's not. They're going to try and sell you on someone they're not. And the news media and the Republicans and the Democrats are going to tell you these are the only two qualified people for the job of the President of the United States. That's baloney. That's the second problem with these debates. That of everyone running, these are the only guys qualified. Now, you and I both know that is not the case. The reason we have only two candidates debating is because the Commission on Public Debates, the nonprofit that's organizing them, is run by Republicans and Democrats. Surprised? If you listen to this show each week, you wouldn't be. You can get on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Patrick Riggins Show and listen to the segment I did on presidential debates. It is very eye-opening if you aren't aware of how these things work. Now, it's sad, but at the same time, it's funny how the media, and both the liberal media, which is just about all mainstream media, and the conservative media will parse each sentence, each phrase, each word of these debates and highlight where one guy or the other is wrong, or where they're bending the truth, or just outright lying. But when it comes to our government as a whole, this is all totally ignored. No one is talking about the day-to-day usurpation of our rights by Washington. Just this week, President Obama signed a national emergency declaration first issued by President George W. Bush in 2001. 2001. That's 11 years ago, if you're mathematically illiterate. 11 years. We have been supposedly needing to keep renewing this national emergency declaration for the last 11 years. Is that sinking in to anyone else? I'll say it again in case you're missing the point. 11 years. This emergency or national emergency declaration involves several wartime powers that give the president greater control of the military, namely the ability to suspend retirements and separations of military personnel. Also, he can recall the ready reserve and activate recently retired Coast Guard officers and personnel, and prohibit or regulate financial transactions with foreign entities involved in terrorism. For 11 years, we have been renewing this declaration because of the 9/11 attacks. Again, it's 11 years. What about all of those liberals who are so anxious to get their man Obama into the White House? You are backing a man who endorses just about every single foreign policy action that was made under President George W. Bush. Someone you called a cowboy, you called him a frat boy. Heck, some of you even called him a terrorist by some people. Yet now you stand in defense of this person who is going against everything you supposedly stood for. And I've got to ask you, where are your principles? If you are a liberal and you are supporting Obama during this election, then, well, you're a sellout, plain and simple. Now, the truth may hurt, but there it is. This president still has us in Iraq. We're still in Afghanistan. He still has Guantanamo open for business. He continues allowing the TSA to violate your rights. He has even stepped up drone strikes against people accused, and mind you, I said accused, not convicted, of being terrorists. More so, he has bragged about how he is on the committee to pick. He is on top of picking the list of people to kill if they're spotted by a drone. Bragged about it. He's proud to be killing others without a trial. Yet, you liberals support him as though he has done none of these things. He even supports the rendition of people to other countries for questioning. So, someone is quietly sleeping in their house. A CIA strike team kidnaps this person, puts him on a plane, flies him to a, quote, friendly country, and interrogates him. No lawyer, no reading of his rights, nothing. Again, you support this. You blindly support a man who is violating people's rights in this way. So, how do you sleep at night? Is this why liberals get so angry when you question them about these things? Is it because I'm pointing up a disconnect between what they say they believe in, the liberals, and what they do believe in? I know a lot of liberals delight in my attacks on the Republican Party for the ways in which it tramples on the Constitution. But when I question their guy, then I'm crossing the line. They don't want to take the blinders off and see their people in Washington for what they are. No different than anyone else in government. They're power-hungry bureaucrats willing to prostitute themselves to the highest corporate bidder. Oh, no, not my representative. They don't do that. Sure they don't. Pull their voting record. It's right there online. Go through the Federal Register and see what they have been up to lately. On second thought, you probably don't want to do that because you would have to face the cold, stark reality that your representative is not really any different than anyone else's. And you have to have a boogeyman to fight, someone to rail against, because facing reality and working to change the system is just too much. Sure, you liberals scream about the conservatives until your guy is in office. And when he is doing the same thing the previous guy did, that's okay because it's my liberal guy doing it. We're up on the bottom of the hour of the break here. This is the Patrick Regan Show. We'll come back with the second half of the show, and we'll try to take some calls and get to a couple other things here. This is Patrick Riggins. We'll see you in a couple of minutes as I, again, rest my deep, I guess that wouldn't be bass, would it? Treble voice.
Velvety tones.
Velvety tones.
Velvety
I knew
tones.
you'd have the word, the adjectives for that.
The sultry voice.
Sultry voice. We'll be back here in a little bit.